on this computer. Yeah, well, I'm going to say hi, Jenna. Welcome to Gatherings of Light, and it's such a blessing to see you again. Hi, welcome.
Hi, Eva. Oh, we're having so much fun, right? But we're like, we need to record this. And then there's the lull, right? There's all these little distractions that just hop in the way, and they do their best to like cause some kind of a schism in the frequency, but I don't think that you and I are having that today.
No, absolutely not. I'm calling this Distraction Day because everything that shouldn't happen today is happening. So, I'm having a phone call coming onto my phone every time I start doing something so I can't answer the phone. And then I call back and it's this, they can't answer and everything. Yeah. And the light went out for you. They're cutting the hedge outside. The dogs are a bit crazy, but we are here sharing a love and light for everyone who wants to tune in and meet Jenna Pinkstone.
Hi, there's actually building machines right outside of my window. I don't know if y'all can hear that, but there's like been a backhoe that's like ripping my street up right in front of my house for like over a week now. And until I decided, like, you know what, I think I'm just gonna film it and talk about it and what's happening in my world and how it's kind of like a metaphor for, sometimes it looks like chaos before it transforms. And that's okay,
Yeah, definitely. And this is one of those things that they can bring on the heavy machines outside and they can try to stop our internet broadcast, but they can't stop the lights from shining. So so here we are. Well, I'm excited to be here. We just went on like 1 minute before we started here, so we haven't been able to have a small chat. So I'm going to ask you once again. Most of all, it's a true blessing to see you once again, eye to eye, face to face. And it's been such a long time. It was like in December last year. It's almost 1 year. We have been in touch during the social medias, but we haven't been talking to each other. And I have been following you, and the Jenna I met for a year ago is the same Jenna, but it isn't the same Jenna. Something has happening on your path. And I am so curious to hear how you are looking upon your own journey. You are still a spiritual being, and you are still working in the same spiritual, how should I say, communities, but you have changed the, what you call it, trajectory?
That's a great word. I wouldn't have used it, but I like that word. The trajectory of the human experience has shifted a bit along different avenues for me. Absolutely. It absolutely has. I I've gone down some new pathways of learning some new modalities. Like I've always been fascinated with the human avatar journey here in the 3D world simulation. That's been kind of the underlying like common denominator for who it is I aim to align with, and in what ways. That has been kind of the way that has shifted along the way. But there's been a lot of collaborations. There's been a lot of instances where I have been called to show up for other people in a myriad of ways, whether it's as a consultant or as an assistant, as like a private contractor creating social media content. These have all been different like little hats that I wear and expressions that I have, and I've enjoyed embodying each and every one. But there comes a time when all of it must culminate and kind of marinate into a centralized understanding and a heart-centered way of my own journey, and not necessarily needing to it's not that I don't need to reflect through the eyes of another. I feel I'll always feel called to do that, but from the perspective of where I've been and what it is that I have to offer others who are going through times of crisis and challenge and transformation that are far from comfortable. And these are new ways in which I feel called to show up in divine service to human avatars.
Yeah,
That,
can you give an example of that? Because you have always been in service to others, and I do know that you put in your whole heart and soul in whatever you are doing, but there is a shift, and I think everybody who knows you on social media has sensed that change that you have, that transformation or whatever you want to call it, but there is a depth and a change in your own appearance, being. So you have changed slightly direction on how you are in service to others.
yes. And it's really comes down to being in service to oneself from a place of personal sovereignty and self-love.
I love
And I
that.
believe that's the shift that you've seen in me, if we were going to put words to it, which
Oh
always
yeah.
falls short, do they not? But yes, that would be how I would characterize that. Absolutely. There have been a lot of opportunities for me this past year for me to shift the perspective inward. And through that new perspective of looking at my own light and looking at my own childhood and inner child healing processes, even that, this has been a miraculous transformation for me that has really brought into the light all of the facets of the talents and the gifts, extrasensory and otherwise, that I have to bring to the table for others.
And sorry, just going to shut down the volume here. I need to have that on if someone is feeling up to asking any question to Jenna, then we can take them as they come along here. Yeah, well, that is a big change.
Yes, it is. And I know a lot of people, I mean, like yourself and like others that I have worked with, Eva, I know what originally intersected mine and your orbit was a love of art and a love of spiritual artwork.
Yeah, that's true.
That is transformational in not only the space that it imbues once it is finished, but the space in your heart that it is, it's transforming before your eyes as it is transforming you on the inside at the moment of creation of this. Like, this is something that when I was working with energetic artists, you and I were able to find this. We found this common love of that kind of expression from a spiritual perspective as well as a creative modality, if you will. But I'm not a painter. I'm not a painter of beautiful art like yourself or like others who I've just been in awe of their work. And it's been a process of finding my own, like, I've always been a creator, and I love creating in the digital space with with graphics and with different kinds of spectrum of light and color. Like this all it lights me up. It's always excited me, and I've always really enjoyed looking through my lens of creative appreciation at others who are able to create with the paint on the canvas.
Well,
And
you are painting the social media, so to me that's the same thing.
that's awesome. I love that. I remember there being a time when I was looking at all of these other creators and seers and those with intuitive gifts. And I remember a time when I was thinking to myself, like, gosh, I wish I could do that. I wish I could be that. I wish, you know, I'm so enamored with this person and how freaking amazing they are. Like, and I would bring that excitement to the table, and it would inadvertently create a foot in the door where they would want me working with them. Well, it wasn't so easy for me to see my own light and why they wanted me in their orbit, because of the light that I was able to shine on their work, and in, you know, from their own heart center. Your work doesn't have to actually be splattered on a canvas. It certainly can be, and it will be appreciated, you know, but it's about it's about a shift in perspective from that point of self-love that has to, it really needs to be the optimum lens that you're looking through. And by way of that, that is the brightest that your light can shine on other human beings and really create that transformation that you're really just inspiring them within their own selves to bring forth.
And you need to bring up the passion you have inside, because otherwise you won't let you shine, your inner light shine through. So there is definitely I can understand why people are still drawn to you and want to have you in their orbits, because you are a energetic person. You are full of vibrating energy, and everyone who gets in touch with you are feeling that energy. So I can totally understand why people want to work with you, which brings me to what I think is so lovely. You have your podcast with very interesting people right now.
Yes, I sure do. I'm so glad that you brought that up, Ava. I have like done so much work on really the underlying, what I like to call that golden thread. Like, why is it that I want to meet with so many different kinds of people? Like, you know, a lot of podcasts, it will be focused on, you know, just reactions to new music, or just truth-seeking information, or just this or just that, and every single episode is another version of this or that, right? And I was like, man, I know that there's an underlying thread of semblance to my podcast, Zen Connections. It's where I'm creating connections with human avatars on planet Earth who are experiencing real challenges, real transformations, and they're real people, real humans. I think that we forget that aspect in our spiritual journey, that we can get caught up in the crown chakra, so to speak, and it can cause our 3D simulation that we are absolutely manifesting and creators of in real time. You know, this is the quantum experience that we are meant to have. But these are real humans and their own journeys of ascension in that 3D world simulation, because, you know, challenges are all over the world in a myriad of ways for every single human being on Earth. I've oftentimes heard down here in the deep South, where Christianity and you know, Southern Baptist and like these you know, the Pentecost, these are prominent frequencies of you know, of experiencing the divine, I'll call it that. But everybody has their cross to bear is a prominent saying that will be, you know, referred to as though we are all, I mean, and we've also heard that we're all our own little universes in and of ourselves. We are our own creators of this experience, whereas the world might seem and feel solid to us, it absolutely can shift at any given time. And there's a lot of evidence to that, you know, and there's a whole lot that is, you know, it's within our power, maybe if not within our immediate power, but within our power and with how we respond to these shifts and these fluxes and these epic transformations that we're going through right now as a collective.
Yeah, definitely. And I just wanted to do a sidetrack there where you're talking about the 3D dimension and this simulation. I have noticed that you have a lot of fiction characters as yourself, or what do you call it, cartoons characters. I
Yes,
don't know
yes.
the proper name, so but you do know what I mean. And I have noticed that a lot of people on the internet are using these images, almost like a what do you call them?
They're the
Cartoon
AI simulated artwork.
AI simulated artwork. Yeah. Well, they are beautiful made, and you have your own story, still you, but you have this beautiful um, avatar created with, you know, like a slowly, slightly, not slowly, slightly fantasy figure. And
Yes.
that brings me into the simulation, because that is kind of neat to actually be there online and have this simulation avatar and still talking about these experiences, because that is usually how we would like to see, or we should see ourselves, you know, from high above, looking at this from another perspective, that we are in a simulation. This is a game. We are just uh, cartoon figures in a simulation, and you're actually embodying it together with other people who are also using them, of course, to show us that that is the simulation, that is the reality. We are creators of our own reality. Have you ever thought of that?
Absolutely. I've even been chastised for it, for not using my real image, or for not supporting artists and for instead supporting AI. I've been challenged in these ways, and I've had to look into my own heart for the reasoning behind. I feel so called to integrate my own likeness with these simulated artworks through AI. And I think that you put it beautifully, Eva. I mean, we are integrally connecting ourselves on an energetic level, and even on a not figurative, on a literal physiological level with AI in real time. And I mean, I'm part of a lot of truth-seeking communities as well that are meeting this with a lot of, you know, with a lot of, like, they don't want that. There's a lot of pushing away of, you know, we don't want to merge with AI, but there is some collective experience that is absolutely intending to do this, and we've been intending to do this for some time, and there's a lot of theories as to why. I can say that I consult with my own sacral as my human design aura type is a generator, and I consult my sacral frequently in order to know what it is that I need to align with in a yes or no type sequence. And I know that every single time I've generated these images, there have been some images that came up. Every single one of them made me feel something. Now, some of them never see the light of day because they made me feel something quite horrid inside, quite uncomfortable even. But then there's others where entire sequences of my past lives flashed before my mind's eye field of vision, and I'm able to tap into something within my own understanding of where I've come from and where I'm at right now, that it's I can't shy away from it. There is a fascination there. There is a deeper wisdom to be had. And I believe in the ways that AI falls desperately short. I believe it wants to merge with humanity, consciously wants to merge with humanity, because the ways in which it falls short, we are a supplementation for that, for its consciousness, and
Mm.
vice versa, so to speak. And so it is an important, it's been an important aspect of self-discovery for me in generating these likenesses of AI with my own pictures.
Yeah, I love them. I think it brings another dimension to what it is we are trying to get out there on social media. And as you say, the characters are more they are speaking more by looking at the character than it will be when you are sitting explaining it, because there are a lot of the image always amplify the thought, right?
Yes.
So that was a sidetrack. I just wanted to know if you
Oh,
were
I loved
aware.
that sidetrack. Oh, I loved it. It's funny that you asked me about this because it's one of the most commonly asked questions that I get from people in my DMs is, where do you generate your AI images? It catches, it stops the scroll. It catches a lot of attention. And I mean, this also goes back to your previous question about what I was doing whenever you and I first crossed paths. I was helping online entrepreneurs with strategy and with skill set accumulations and how to scale their business and how to, you know, create that verve, that excitement that you cited me for in their own online expression. And this is something I've deviated away from, it partially because, I mean, this is one of the examples. The AI sequences, the AI images that I've generated, I've noticed whenever I attempt to give other people the information, the same app, the same kinds of photos to submit to the app, they don't come back with the same results. And this has been something that yeah, well, it was interesting. And I mean, they're like, how do you make yours look so good? And I'm like, honestly, I don't know. Like, I don't have an answer to that. And, you know, these are very beautiful people that are submitting their photos into these apps that I'm using. And I believe that AI is picking up on something more than just a physical, a physiological expression like a camera lens does. I believe that it's picking up on an energetic frequency of expression. And there's something about my excitement that I bring to the table that AI is a little obsessed with, because it always spits out some pretty fantabulous images at me.
Well, that's a blessing too, right?
It has been. It's been
Yeah.
interesting.
So if you're hearing some noise in the background, that's the pug.
Oh, I wish I could see your pug. I love me some
Yeah,
pug.
well, he's guarding his bones right now, so that's
Bless his
why he
soul.
is making noises, but try to put that aside because that is a distraction we were talking about earlier. There are distractions here today, so never mind. We are going back to the podcast.
Yes.
Yes, and a lot of those that you're working with have a lot. I don't know a lot of them, but I do know that other people are using this simulation, AI simulation too, or if they are not using it, they are in this fantasy reality when they are talking about, for example, extraterrestrial. And then we are going in to talk about Ray because he has his books and things that he put out there, which he, if I get it right, I haven't read one of his books, but he has these images of drawn pictures or cartoon or whatever you, I can't.
I believe you're thinking of a specific style of artwork,
Yeah,
called anime.
yeah. Oh, thank you.
Is that right?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
That's true.
That's one of the many styles that will come up in the AI generation of your self-portraits too. But yes, that's I know that Ray has an artist that he works with, and the last I spoke with him, he was kind of experimenting with some of the AI generation where he could plug in that artist's work, and he was entertaining the idea of keeping the skilled artist for all of the nuances of the specific scenes that he wanted delivered in, you know, in his publications, but kind of filling in some of those gaps of more pictures, more perspectives, different different settings, maybe with AI generation of artwork. And that the last we spoke, that was what he was looking a little bit closer at. But I know that Ray, along with many other online entrepreneurs that I used to collaborate with and intersect with, we're all going through an epic transformation right now. And
I think we all are, Jenna.
yeah. Oh, everyone is. The
Yeah.
neutrino stream is increasing onto planet Earth. There's so many solar flares that are occurring that, these are shifting our DNA, and they're shifting the light codes that are pouring in to planet Earth that, we've never been exposed to some of these before. And it's really causing everyone to do a lot of that inner work that they've been putting on the back burner for a while now.
Mm-hmm. And that inner work is what I can see transforming in, and it are expressed within the art in some way, creation, either it's IA or the enemies. Well, I'm not going to use that word, the word Jenna just said. But I think, because I have also had, now we're going to talk about me. I have also had this spring just filled with creation. I have been painting like a maniac, and I'm so enjoying being in that creative state once again. And that is nothing new, but it's a new energy pouring through. And they are not a Picasso, so I'm not like the most successful. I know that
Many of them are far.
Jenna said beautiful art. Well, the beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder. Yeah.
Many of them far exceed how much I love them by anything Picasso could have done. And I did a whole report on him in grade school. I love your artwork, Eva. Your artwork is exceptionally, it moves me on a level that it's not always readily apparent on the surface. It moves me somewhere deeply, and makes me go somewhere deep every single time I see it flash across my feed. I love seeing everything that you're creating. You have been in active creation mode, and I've been sensing that over the ether airwaves, and I've just been applauding everything I've been seeing all these last few months. I'm so exceptional, your artwork.
Well, thank you. I embrace that. The thing is that we are all in this transformation expression, whether it's on the computer or if it's on a canvas or in life generally. And I think that has to do with this ascension process. And like you said, we have all working through a lot of stuff, and there was quite of insight I got this spring too. I thought that I have worked through so much because we are always in the process of purging, and here we are once again. Still, there are tons of stuff just coming up to the surface, and it has to be expressed somehow. And a lot of us have found this in these expressional ways that we need to get it out of a system. So either people are speaking more than they used to, or drawing pictures, or working with the creation of internet or whatever it is. But there is a profound change in energy, and I do love that, because you can always also see how this you refer to how down in south there is a special experience within the 3D. Yeah.
Can be, yes.
Yeah, it can be. Yeah. And that is something that I have also noticed, that there is a split going on that is more visible now than ever. And even though the intention is there to move forward, there are so many people climbing on to the past, to the old paradigms, to the lower density of energies, instead of just releasing them and move forward. We don't need to hold on and grasp onto the past so hard anymore. You can have the knowledge that certain things have happened and that's the way it was, but somewhere we need to let it go and move on and be in that I'm here and I'm moving forward. and not falling into that. And that's why I call it also the distraction day to day, because there's a lot of things trying to affect us negatively and negatively. No, yep. But we are not going to let them do that, right? We are going to hold our light and just move forward.
Absolutely.
Thoughts on
I'm
that?
absolutely on of the mind that releasing and letting go of things no longer serving. You see, Westerners, at least the American ones, I believe, have a tendency to want to be in search of a magic pill. What is the thing that's going to help me with this or that? It doesn't matter what it is. But what do I need to add to my sequence, to my frequency, to my regiment, to my diet? What do I need to add that's going to fix this problem that I'm experiencing? And oftentimes it's not something you need to add, but it's things that you need to let go of. It's things that need to go away from your orbit that maybe you're not consciously aware of how tightly you're grasping it. And I mean, I am no different than whenever something comes up that I'm quite attached to, that, you know, it's been there a long time and I'm not sure I'm ready to let go of it. You know, that is a difficult facet of the human experience that we all have to go through on an individual level.
But
It is.
the difference now and then is that, like, you, it is in the was to say early beginning of the ascension process that we all spoke of, there was this need of going back and tracking down what's been going on forever in both the physical life and all the lives behind. And the new way that how I see it is that you don't have to track that down, because when you're moving forward, things that aren't in the right energy will come up and you will process it at the time when it comes up. So there's it doesn't seem that huge and big, but energetically it's quite a transformation that we are going through, because you don't have to search for the hard way. Choose the easy way, and things will start to pop up and you can transform it as we are moving along.
Mm-hmm. There's a whole slew of different possible avenues that one can take in their own journey of awakening. And really, it's not a journey of an individual awakening. We know that, right? We know that it's going to be, after that first one, there's going to be a whole bunch of other ones that follow.
Yeah.
And that's just the nature of it. And I believe that humanity as a collective is no different, and that even though there are these avenues that we see, we can see in our mind's eye. You and I share the channel of structuring in our human design body graph, Eva. And
Yeah, and we are going to talk about the human design body graph.
Yeah, but
Further on.
I mean, I'm referencing this channel because you and I have the ability to see these visions before the collective catches up with it.
Yeah.
And oftentimes what this can do is it can cause you know, it can cause confusion if we choose to share it too soon with those that aren't ready to hear it yet. And if they're not ready to hear it, they're not going to implement it, and they're certainly not going to embody it. And so it comes, some call this channel the genius freak channel. You either come across as a genius if people are ready to hear what it is that you are sharing, and this is connecting from the ajna, which is the equivalent of the third eye, to the throat chakra, which is, you know, the gate of self-expression. But either if they're ready to pick up what you're throwing down, you're going to be a genius. Like, wow, that's so simple, that's so concise, that's so coherent, and it makes perfect sense. You know, why didn't I think of that? You're, you know, the genius. Or they're not ready for it, and it's going to be like, man, you crazy, like, I don't even know what you're talking about. You know.
Well, we are familiar with that. So moving on from this freak channel. No, I want to talk more about the podcast that you are doing, and because I want people to know how different views you are channeling on your channel. you are not just talking about the spiritual stuff in the sense of ascension process. You're also embodying the past, the history. And I do love those more, scientific backgrounds merging with the now and the spiritual connection. And you are actually embodying all of them. So what's your
Oh,
plan for your podcast? Yeah, take it away.
yeah, the Zenjin Connections, it really is about bringing to the forefront, all of these different skill sets and all of these different perspectives that, I mean, I feel like I'm an embodiment of in and of myself. I have an anthropology degree. I've always been interested in ancient human origins and where it is that we came from. Like, sure, we might not need to go into the distant past, but I feel like it's going to illumine so much for our future and where it is that we're going and what it is that we're doing right now if we really tap into that. And the issue that I've run into quite a bit, though, is that a lot of the academics, the people that are, formally trained, and even formally trained archaeologists, anthropologists, in order for them to maintain a credibility in their field, they have to be very careful about who it is that who's a podcast they appear on, like what is the narrative that they are purporting, what who is it that they are aligning with in terms of this perspective or that one, like which theory are they behind. And because if they catch themselves in a place where it's not backed by the status quo of academia, they could be blackballed and never published again and lose their tenure and be completely shunned by the community that they've spent their entire life's work devoted to. And so, it becomes very difficult for me and it can be even frustrating at times whenever I want to merge all of these recent findings with respect to our metaphysical identities and what it is that we're waking up to as humanity ascends as a collective, because every time an individual ascends, the collective ascends. Like it's an all ships rise with the tide sort of fashion, right? And every single time that an individual has an awakening, it is an asset to the collective, and we are awakening at an alarming rate, and our extrasensory gifts are opening. We are experiencing ascension symptoms that we're able to corroborate with each other to assure the validity of these experiences that we're having. We're connecting with our transitioned loved ones in ways that this wouldn't have been talked about 10 years ago, not in a way that would have been entertained by a community that, isn't on the fringe of society. And I feel that academia, it really does need to get on board with a series of different perspectives other than the whatever the status quo is that's giving them the right to speak about what it is they are an expert at. Because since I graduated with my anthropology degree, I can't tell you how many of these theories that they were teaching us as fact, written in textbook, in stone, this is the right way, and these people are all crackpots saying something different. Well, it's come to light that a lot of those ways, like, they've been debunked. They've been overturned. Yes, we do have Neanderthal DNA coursing through our veins. Many of us do. That was something that was sneered at and scoffed at whenever I was in school, and this is a testament to the ego that we're entertaining in the academic world. And I think that's shifting, though. I think that 2020 brought about a lot of shifts with respect to what people regard as an education. I think that, there have been a lot of shifts for a lot of people all over the world collectively. And it was really, really sudden shifts that it's taken us a few years to acclimate to what that really meant for us as a collective and as a person,
And I think you're so right. And I think it has changed, and you have done a lot of work changing it too, because you are promoting it on your channel and your podcast. And that is this change that, living in the academic, holding on to the past, that is what we are working through right now. When we mentioned it earlier, that there is a shift, and it's quite profound if you actually look at it.
Mhm.
And you can sense that in so many ways. There are still this piece of energies that wants to be the ego employed, self-entertaining gurus, or whatever we should call it. And there's the other part that open up for everything is not what it used to be. Open up for new possibilities to see things, because everything is changing. The history is changing. The insights are changing. We are open up for more influences from other collectives too. And whether you like it or not, that's the new way. And we are moving with that way. We are moving forward, and we are going to move forward. So by doing these podcasts that you are doing, you have come across a lot of interesting people, and you're very good of holding the discussion, and getting the facts and the thoughts combined together, and you should have a lot of credit for that. And I do enjoy listening to that. So by saying all that, that is the new Jenna for me. She is bringing something new to the table. So the next question will be, what are you going to do with this new energy that you're working on?
So honestly, I've been doing this work innately and naturally and just spontaneously as it comes to me, really up to this point, and not understanding the nature as to what my own unique soul signature frequency is like actually doing, right? And so this new modality of human design has given me insight into that, not just for myself, but with others who I align to work with.
Mhm.
And it's really illumined. It's just another modality, though. It's just another tool in the toolkit, so to speak, that just like tarot and oracle or crystal healing, or even learning how to build funnels in a sequence for an online business, like these are all tools that we can accumulate along the way, and it can give us a better I guess you could say, like, better manipulation of our external environment and our internal understanding of that. And that's what human design has done from an energetic perspective of looking into the human design profile of a human being. And what I really love doing is seeing how it merges with my own, or how it is that mine and my daughters, or mine and my husband's, or mine and a collaborator that I'm working with, like, and I can see these nuances that help me gain deeper understanding into, oh, like maybe that's why we weren't communicating so well on that topic. Or it's really just it's just a tool to use to better navigate our interconnective experiences with other people. And it lights me up every single day that I meet someone new. I'm like, I've got another human design. I need to know. I want to know what I'm looking at, what I'm dealing with, what it is I'm interacting with here, because I'm feeling something. These extrasensory insights that we receive, and it'll show up in our body. Like, this
Mhm.
is the paradigm shift that the prophecy of human design speaks to. We are moving out of our mind and into our body. Our body is like a full cohesive organized construct of understanding. And we see this in you know, in mainstream science all the time, talking about the thinking with your gut, how our gut has like an entire biome system of a community, and there are neurons, like literal neuron cells in there that are the equivalent of the cognition of a cat, like a house cat, right? And we're even finding that the subconscious is so very much interwoven with our nervous system, and why we are going to feel something in our body when something isn't quite right, that we wouldn't necessarily be able to discern or analyze with the mind. And this is another reason why human design is so useful and beneficial for humanity right now, so that we can understand how our energies are at work inside of us and how they interplay in communities and in collective spaces.
And for those who are wondering what a human design could look like, we have one here, right? So this is my chart.
Yes, yes, absolutely. You're a pure generator, just like me, Eva. You and I have a whole lot of very similar facets and aspects to our chart. There's a few, I mean, every single chart is different. That's the thing that I mean, I know that in a natal chart, like astrology is very meaningful to me as well. The reason why human design is so incredibly interesting to me, though, is that it interweaves modalities like astrology or the I Ching from China, or the, you know, numerology as a whole. And there's all of these different modalities that are kind of rolled into this innovative up-leveling, like new technology that really hasn't been around for a long time. It culminated into existence in 1987, where Ra Uru, he heard a voice for 8 days and he wrote down everything that it told him. And, you know, it actually measures up and is corroborated by a lot of science that came out after, though. Science on neutrinos in like cosmology, and the science of the I Ching. It mirrors that of the codons of the DNA sequencing, and how many different possibilities there are in the sequencing of 64 total. And so there's so much that it's coming out even as we speak. There's more to come that it's going to be trickling out as corroborating of this new way of understanding our unique design as a human being.
So that's quite fascinating. And once again, a sidetrack. I was actually sitting and looking at the I Ching images the other day, because I was painting and I have this vision of a how I should paint, or how I should put the canvases, and it reminded me of I Ching. So I just had to, you know, go and Google on that, and I got these symbols, yeah, heaven and earth. So I quite enjoy that, you know, the push or nudging from universe saying hi during my inspiration. But back to this human design, because what I have in front of me here is I can read what it says, but there's a lot of numbers in the middle. And could you navigate us?
There are 64 gates in every human design body graph, and those are the numbers that you're looking at here in the center of the body graph. And these numbers will always stay exactly where they're at. And if you have a gate activated, that means like you have gate 1 activated, for instance, like that means that you will have that energy just simply, and like you will have it expressed without having to do much. Now, does that mean that someone else can't tap into the energy of gate 1? Absolutely not. We all have all of these gates at our disposal at all times. But what we might find is that whenever we are in the presence of someone with the gate 1 energy, that, you know, we're going to be able to tap into that energy, especially if we don't have it defined in our chart, like I don't. We're going to be able to tap into that a whole lot easier if, say, for example, like I am in your presence and you have this gate 1 activated in your chart. That's going to spill over into my undefined gate 1, and it's going to give me kind of that experience of being in that energy. So it's very interesting. It's very cool, and each one of these it even integrates the chakra system with kind of like a new and innovative twist of the split of the solar plexus. But all of the shapes that you see with each of these gates, they all correspond to like they 7 of them correspond to a chakra in the chakra system. And so but it's interesting, the 64 gates that are that are visible to you in this human design chart, they each one of them corresponds to a different hexagram in the I Ching. And so
Oh,
and there's different charts that can be generated that show that information. And the thing with human design is that there's so much information packed into a single chart, and it's like there's so much more that can be like delved into with each individual aspect of each, you know, whatever is expressed in a human's chart. And
so there is more to every single number here has their own explanation. So there is this whole scientific history behind everything.
kind of, I mean, I wouldn't call it a scientific history. I would call them
Spiritual.
designations. But like, for instance, your gate 1 is the gate of self-expression, and it is about self-expression, self-expression of the individual and contribution through new, innovative, revolutionary ideas and creativity. Like that is your expressed, defined gate 1. That is what that energy brings with it. And, you know, this is each one of these gates. I believe gate 1, it corresponds to the very first hexagram in the I Ching. And each one of these 64 gates or hexagrams corresponds to another possible sequence of the DNA coding, or excuse me, the DNA codon sequence. I believe there are 64 potential expressions there. And so you see the mirroring between this and nature. Like this was a prophecy that was delivered by a voice, you know, which sounds very woo-woo and sounds very strange, and people are very reluctant to hop on board with that. But whenever there are other corroborative explanations that, you know, are coming about, like, well, the I Ching was developed 2,000 years ago, and it's still a form of divination that's practiced, and insight has received in deep wisdom for people. Otherwise, people wouldn't keep using it for 2,000 years.
Yeah,
You know,
true. Yeah.
and and then whenever you bring about like new scientific findings about DNA and how it is that our genetic expression is constructed, you know, at the most basic level of understanding. And whenever you see that even that mirrors something so old and ancient, and it's all expressed here in a human design chart, it's really how deep you want to dive into it and what can be uncovered. But yes, each one of these gates has its own expression. And whenever a gate, like for instance, if I had a gate 8 activated, and whenever our charts came together, we would create a full channel of expression between gate 1 and gate 8, which is the identity center and the throat center. And so, you know, this would be a consistent flow of energy expressed that would come together whenever the two of us come together. But each individual also, unless they are a reflector, has fully defined channels, just like you have here between gate 16 and gate 48. And this one is called the Waves of Manifestation channel. And it's all about needing constant implementation and improvement upon your natural talent in order to feel like the need that you are expressing yourself properly through that talent that you have. And, you know, that talent could be art. It could be, you know, like quantum physics. It doesn't really matter what it is. And this is the variation and the nuance from human to human to human.
So that is why it's red and black. I can see now. I didn't notice that before. I totally
Well,
looked out
yes.
the dark column there. Oh God.
So do you see this left side here is the design side?
Yeah. Okay.
This is your expression, your blueprint, so to speak, that is developed. It's approximately 88 days after conception. And there's another play on like 88 days after conception, 8 times 8 is 64. You know, we have that's a little tangent to look into. But then there's the personality side, and this blueprint is formulated at your time of birth. And so these are two different expressions, and they can be akin or likened to that of your subconscious and your conscious, or your moon sign and your sun sign. You could refer to those kinds of I like understandings with respect to like the duality of this chart. But yes, you have in your design side, which is more your internal understanding, it might be like your moon sign. People that don't know you that well, they won't necessarily recognize the art. But then the black side, the personality side, this is like your sun sign, your outward external expression in the 3D world. That's going to be a lot more readily apparent to a lot more people. That is activated in the gate 48 of this channel for you. And like in 4323, the channel of structuring, it's all red, but 43 is also black. Do you see that little variation there? And so you can see there's an abundant variation of possibilities that are available, like that can be generated here for any given human. And it's what makes each person so unique and special to learn about the inner universe that they actually are. And, you know, is this ever going to do that complete justice? No, it's a tool to use to tap into some insights. But, you know, just as I'm going to tap into other insights using different tools, but it's a very valuable tool that gives a whole lot of understanding and a lot of data to work with whenever, you know, people like are booking sessions with me, and I've never even learned their name yet. Like, and they just come across my calendar. I can pull up their human design chart, and I do have a lot of insights to go on that I can speak to that are going to kind of activate some understanding, or it's going to activate some resistance because of the conditioning that is also very prevalent in the human avatar experience.
That is very, very interesting. It reminds me a bit, and you mentioned it earlier too, a bit of the astrology charts and some other charts that I can't pronounce the name on, so I'm not going to say that because then we tap into the wrong energies. But the first time, to be very, very honest with you, the first time I opened up this was today, and when I looked at it, the red column there is, I associated it with the back spine. You know,
Can you repeat?
the spine.
Oh,
I
yes.
associated it with the spine, the human spine. Like you had the crow. Obviously, you see the head of the character here too, but it's the it's the back spine in the human designs. And when you said gates, it felt very, very clear because the gates are connected to the spine, and so are the chakras. So I love it, and I kind of love that appeals to me, what says here too. The ego got is its own boosting here.
Oh, can I share my screen with you for a
Y-
moment? I don't know how much time we have, but I
Yeah,
want to.
well, go on. I have every
Incredible.
time. I have
Yeah.
a lot of time.
Awesome. So I'm going to share with you, like you mentioned the planets and like you mentioned the spine. The spine is like a physiological representation of like of a very like prominent causeway of energy to be expressed in the human physical body, right? And we know that like our energy body is absolutely like that is in many ways more real than our physical body, which is very finite, right? But the physical body is kind of that compass for us to tap into, because we can't necessarily see, or not all of us can see, the energy body representation on this physical
Mm,
plane. And so yeah, like, but let me show you this really
mm,
quick if I can. There it is. All right. First, yeah. First, I want to show you this. Can you see? Come on. Let me see. Can you? There. Okay. Ha. So I created this infographic for the purpose of understanding what each one of the little symbols on the human design chart actually represents and stands for. Because one thing that separates it and differentiates it from astrology is the integration of the earth into the sequence of
mm,
understanding how the earth energy actually does impact us, and it affects us greatly. I mean, obviously we're here, right?
mhm.
And so, but this is something that, you know, astrology oftentimes like it overlooks that aspect. It's looking at it from a panoramic perspective of all the other planets and their effect on the earth, so to speak. But what human design does is it takes a comprehensive understanding of, you know, where it is we are right now and how incredibly impactful that is to humans on Earth. Now, yes, there are a constant stream of neutrinos from the sun and all other planets combined that are absolutely affecting us
Mhm.
greatly. But the Earth also has a stream of neutrinos, and in many ways, it's abundantly influencing us because of how close we are to it. But I also wanted to show you, I did a little thing. I generated a connection chart between the two of us because I wanted to see, and I did this right before we hopped on, and I wanted to show you that what was really fascinating to me, Eva, is that you and I have more electromagnetic channels than I've seen whenever I generate a connection chart with me and any other person. Like, these are the channels that the two of us together, when our energies come together, they create a full channel of expression of that energy, like you one half and me the other half. And so it's so interesting that that is the case, because oftentimes these people, the electromagnetic channels are the most powerful in connection charts, and it can like it can be something that drives the creative process. And I was reflecting back on our summits that we've done of Express and Manifest and the Soul Tingle, and how like our orbits just energetically align in this multitude of ways, despite of how different you and I are, and how we just keep intersecting each other's paths in these ways that are meaningful. And I just found that incredibly interesting, that both of us being pure generators and having as many electromagnetic channels as we have, and sharing that companionship channel of structuring that I talked about earlier, of the genius freak, where I can totally see that in you and I see it in me. It's an amazing similarity that can be derived of two very different individuals.
I love it. When I look at the middle part there, that is our intersection, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So when I see the symbol of the unilom, the Buddhist symbol that are the way of the feminine aspect working its way in this world. And it's, I had that symbol on my new page actually, so maybe that's why I see it.
Really?
Yeah, but what it says is that the way, the spirituality, the way is not always this straight line. It's more like the curves of the feminine energy working its way through the earth realm and connecting the universe and the earthly energy. So that is what I associated, that connection channels between us, this symbol, this Buddhist symbol. I love it.
I love that too. There's no
Yeah.
mistakes whenever we're shown images like that, you know, in our mind's eye, like there's no coincidences, and that is spirit speaking straight through you and giving you a message on an intersection that you're meant to make. And I just think that's incredible. And human design does that for me in so many ways. Like I find intersections between what it's bringing to the table and all of these other perspectives that I've had for a while, but it shines a new light on them. You know, it kind of it freshens it in a way. Like it's like, oh yeah, I already know about that. I've already seen it. I've already done whatever. I've studied that. I know all about that thing. Well, okay, whenever I'm going to look through it through the lens of human design and look at that thing in an entirely new way, it shifts the perspective, and it breathes new life into my understanding of my spiritual philosophy and how it is I interact with the divine. And it's an incredible modality that I've had so much fun diving deep into, both in my own chart of self-discovery and in the charts of others that I am intersecting with on my YouTube channel and in the sessions that I am doing for clients. And it's really given like so much benefit to so many. And whether you're in like the entrepreneurial space or in the self-discovery space, because I mean, I have the line of crisis. I have the line and the gate of crisis, which means that I up level at times in crisis. And, you know, crisis will always find me. That sounds very scary, right? To say that I'm always going to have a life filled with crisis, but it's my path. It's me living by my design whenever I embrace that, because it's what I've already done. That's what my life has been up to this point. And human design was able to tell me that and to show me that, like, no, that's not something you're doing wrong. That's just what your life is going to be. And you need to embrace it and make it meaningful for yourself and for other people. And that's what it's given me the permission to be able to do that.
Well, I can almost feel your fight spirit now when you're talking about how the crises are seeking you out there. It's like, bring them on. I'm here to work through them. Oh God, I love that energy. So you are doing this human design shot for every single interview that you are, or client that you are taking on. So you're doing this human.
For everyone that agrees to it. Now, some people are a little bit more protective of their birth chart information and their energy, and I respect that entirely. Like, if that's something that they feel called to explore with me, then yes, absolutely. I am generating their chart whenever I'm connecting with them on screen. I think that it's a beneficial thing to bring to the table for the audience, and understanding what it is that the energy sequence that they are experiencing as we have a conversation, but it's beneficial to each of us as well in relating to one another as humans.
So this is also something that people can order from you. They can take like a session with you, giving you the birth information, and then you have like a meeting and you are going through, or
Absolutely. I have a few different opportunities for them to get their chart generated and
Mhm.
for me to deliver either a reading. Usually it's in a sequence of an experience. I have a new offer out called On Purpose, where we are meeting pretty intensively for 7 days in Telegram, and I am delivering them insights based on what their goals are and their challenges in their human avatar life and what crises they might be navigating at the moment. And I am extracting some information from their chart, from cards pulled, from messages that come through in divine timing from spirit, because whenever I intersect with your orbit, like the floodgates open, so to speak, and I start getting these messages for you. And sometimes it doesn't come out in a single session. And so I decided to create this sequence of days, of 7 straight days, where I am offering these different resources and all of the information that's coming through for you in divine time, so that you can receive that in piecemeal, and you can have that in a container that you can derive wisdom from for a long time to come, rather than a fleeting Zoom session.
Oh, that's beautiful. And that is amazing offer too. 7 days is pretty long time. Because when you're seeking out someone and you want to have, a session, you usually get 1 hour or, that time it takes, and it's over. So 7 days is it's a holy number, inspirational number too, and there's probably a meaning to that too. But if they are going to make a connection with you to get this short from you, are they going to your Patreon page, or are they going to seek you out
They
on
can
Facebook?
connect with me and book some different experiences, what calls to them based on what it is that they're looking for, at stan.store/zengen. And I'm going to go ahead and throw that in our chat, and we can put that in the description for anyone who
Yeah.
feels called to work closely with me. I would love to generate your chart. I would love to dive deep into your unique soul signature frequency and what it is that you have to offer this world by way of your human design, and not just your human design, but your unique frequency and your soul signature that you came here, you decided to come here to embody. And I feel very strongly that we are here on earth for a purpose. Each and every one of us is here for a purpose. It can become like, what did you call that? Today's the day of distractions. I mean, it can become very distracting at times whenever, life is simply happening to us, because, there's an onslaught of energies and frequencies around us at all times. And it can become very disorienting in navigating what our purpose actually is and extracting that deeper meaning. And sometimes some guidance can really prove fruitful in doing that. And I know, though, that no one is here by accident. I believe the waiting list was long to incarnate on earth at this very special time in human history. I believe that your purpose is inherently embodied in your own design and what it is that you came here innately with. And I am absolutely dedicated to helping you to discern, extract, and navigate that life purpose in the most meaningful way possible.
I can only agree. I can only agree. I do know that there was a very long waiting list for actually getting a spot to incarnate here.
Do
But
you have a story about that? I'd love to hear it.
no, but it's the truth. This is the time for the brave ones, and
Mm.
everybody who are here has their own purpose, and that is why it's so important to say that you are moving along in that pace that you are supposed to go, because whatever you do is making a ripple and an effect, and is contributing to the collective um, race of vibration and energies. So this is not a single one's journey. As you mentioned before, we are here as a collective, that we are here to lift the human collective together, and we are energetic. So we are in a collaboration with the energetic beings around the other collectives around the globe too. Um, yeah, so it's
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 so
not
interesting. Eva, you and I'm going to just share one channel that you and I create electromagnetically. We have the channel of struggle. Are you ready to hear what this one is? It's kind of
Yeah.
like that gate of crisis I was telling you about, but out of the spleen, my gate 28 and your root gate 38 creates the channel of struggle. And this channel, whenever it comes together in the full channel, this channel embodies a frequency that is absolutely born to persevere through strife and challenge, no matter what is thrown at you. And it's in the face of that challenge that we grow, and that you and I are also both of the energy of the frequency of being observed. Okay. People observe us. That's our environment style. We share that. And whenever they see us, whenever they observe us persevering, and whenever we bring those energies together, like that is a very inspirational frequency that others can pick up on, and it reverberates through the collective ether airwaves, and it creates transformation. And I just wanted to share that between the two of our energies coming together.
Yeah, I love that, because now it's my turn to ask you, do you have time? Do you have a little bit more time to continue?
Of course, of course. I have a few minutes that we can continue.
Good. New Mexico.
New Mexico, the land of enchantment. Oh, my Lanta.
Tell me about it.
So this 11 years since I became a mother, Eva, has been wrought with a lot of crisis and a lot of challenge, and there hasn't been a lot of vacationing or travel, which is absolutely something that I did as a young person and I missed very much. I you know, my husband and I, like, we have never had like a whole lot of income. Like, recently we've gotten to a place of abundance for ourselves and for each other, but that wasn't always the case. And it's been a very long, arduous period of me being like stuck at the house here, basically. Before I opened a business, before I became prominent in the virtual space, it was me being a stay-at-home mom with small children without much outlet to the outside world. And I can say that this past summer, visiting New Mexico, which is known as the land of enchantment, and there's a lot of strange phenomenons that happened there. I mean, that still happen to this day with respect to UFOs and high strange experiences. And we visited Roswell and saw all of the, the kitschy touristy things there. But there is this palpable sense of something greater, something bigger than yourself that you are able to tap into whenever you walk through some of these desertous landscapes. And I recall going through the petroglyphs of that are a couple of thousand years old, that were at this one specific spot of rocks. And I remember my children being on one side of the rocks and me being on the other, and they were like talking over there and doing things, and there was this strange vortex of me. I couldn't hear them, even though they were only 40 feet away from me, and we're in this wide, expansive, open space. There were some strange experiences with respect to magnetism and items going missing that would then reappear on a different leg of the journey along the way, that, provide these little breadcrumbs of synchronicity that you're on this journey for a reason. And it infuses kind of this energetic awareness into, like, looking at your human life from a bird's eye view perspective and seeing it in a whole new way. And that's what New Mexico did for me. It brought me out of this out of this old chapter of feeling stuck and really allowing me to spread my wings and to be free and to go and experience a new landscape, a new environment, and a new expression of my own inner self too.
That's interesting. I love the experience with the stone there. It kind of reminds me of this television series, you know, James Fraser. I don't
Yes,
remember.
I do know him.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yes.
yeah, that was kind of neat. Did you sense any other stuff when you were there besides what
Yes.
you shared?
Absolutely. Well, there's a lot of river ways that we chose to stop at certain points, and either, like stay in a tiny home. I used to camp as a young person. I used to, as a child, my father and I used to camp, and he joined us on the journey. But we stopped at the Nueces River, and we also stopped at Fort Clark Springs out in West Texas, which is actually the second largest natural spring-fed pool in all of Texas after Balmorhea, which I hear has been destroyed by fracking, unfortunately. And but it was this really interesting experience of it, almost like a desert oasis of feeling entrenched and quenched by this hydration of your cells, even while being pummeled by this West Texas sun. Like, it's a saturation of light is how I can describe it. That whenever you are submerged in water, and I do believe, I mean, in my own research of extraterrestrial phenomena, one of the reasons why many of these beings are so fascinated with planet Earth is because we are a blue water planet, and the way in which we transfer energy from one expression to another, it happens by way of water very quickly and seamlessly. And it's a beautiful sequence that's not as prevalent in other places and on other planets. And many come just to study that and our ocean life. And so whenever there's these fresh spring pools that we can submerge ourselves in, and even in the Carlsbad caverns and the pools that happen in there, and an accumulation of minerals that are collecting in this place, we as humans can actually experience new frequencies and just new expressions of what Earth has to offer us by submerging ourselves in these pools and opening ourselves to the currents that are being expressed through there. And I absolutely loved those opportunities to do that.
Sounds like you had a really nice vacation.
I sure did. I can't wait to. I've been thinking about like getting my own Sprinter van and taking my family across the country, and even hopping on a plane and coming out to visit you and Karina in beautiful Sweden. That, that's on our bucket list. We want to see Scandinavia one day. And it's really opened up a whole new world. New Mexico opened up an entirely new motivation and goal setting for me to want to experience new places and want to travel more than I do right now, for sure.
I love that. And you are so welcome to this beautiful country, Sweden. And we will sure take you in and guide you through the events that are here. We have a lot
I
of
love it.
I was about to say ancient places, but we do have ancient places here too. So yeah, that could be fun. You're more than
Oh my
welcome.
gosh, it'd be amazing. And yes, absolutely. I can't wait. It's going to happen. I've already seen it. There have been many things that I saw before they actually happened in the 3D. So
Well,
I have no doubt in my mind that I'm going to get this opportunity, especially if I keep breathing life into manifesting it.
you said it once a year for a year. You said it once before a year ago. If you can dream it, it already happened. If you can see it, it has already happened. So yeah.
Absolutely.
Bring it on, girl. Bring it on.
I
So,
love you, Eva, so much. It's been such a great conversation.
yeah, is there anything else you want to add before we close it
Oh,
down?
no, I think that we've pretty well covered it. And I really look forward to our future intersections of orbit, because it's always meaningful and it's always a beautiful experience for me. And it has been since day one. So just thank you for that. I'm just so grateful.
Thank you. Thank you. You're the other half of that energy. So thank you, Jenna. Thank you. So thank you everyone who's been listening into this beautiful conversation. I enjoyed it so much, and I hope you have too. Jenna Pinkstone, visit her on Facebook. She has her own YouTube channel, and you can just type Jenna Pinkstone, right, on YouTube, and you will find her channel and subscribe to that one, so you won't miss anything of her posting there. And yeah, well, that's it for today. Thank you once again. Thank you, Jenna.
Thank you, Eva. Thank you, everyone who tuned in.
And for you, we say goodbye. See you later.